My racing hero back then was Chuck Zintarski. Chuck had a shop in West Haven, which is where I was from. As a kid, I used to go down his shop and learn from his guys working on their cars, on their late models and stuff. And when the very first, they called it the Legends race back then, Heroes of the Bull race came out, Chuck had come over and he asked us to have Johnny drive the car in the race because Johnny was his idol when he grew up. We were a little, against it in the beginning, and we weren't sure if we wanted to do it. Chuck gave us his word that, Johnny was a heck of a driver, and he took responsibility of the car. Chuck did. If anything were to happen to the car, he was going to be responsible for it. You don't really think that, the guy could still drive, but he was just a hell of a driver. He ended up winning the event.
Checkered flag is waving this time, and it looks as though Johnny Cambino is going to beat him to the stripe.
Yeah, I drove 31 years. I ought to know a little something, no?
What racetracks did you drive at besides here?
West Haven, Plainville, Bridgeport, Thompson, Stafford. What else you want to do?
I tell you.
And the funny part was, Johnny was a very confident and kind of cocky guy. He was good, and he let you know that he was good. And he had something to say about just about everybody in the field, except for Dick Watson. This guy looked like an old man. This guy was this guy was that, but Dick Watson was a great driver.
Checker flag coming out this time around as Dick Watson picks up the win.
Joe Macknick ran a soccer camp all over the country, and so he would miss a race here and there. So what happened was he was doing his camp somewhere, and he came in for the race. He went out for the heat race. He missed practice. First lap of the heat race, he had a really bad wreck and destroyed the car.
Green flag is out. Danny Green down on the inside. Ted Chafee on the outside. Pat Dinellen runs third. Problems. Joe Macknick into the wall hard with Gary Johnson in that 21G car. Both cars nose first into the Amco Berry.
So he comes in. The car came in on the wrecker. It was destroyed. And he says, "Well, I'm done. Happy birthday. It's your car now." And he gave the car to me. I was a 16-year-old kid and dying to drive. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, here's my chance. I'm going to get to drive this car. No sooner that Joe says I could have the car, my father turns around and looks at Johnny and says, "All right, Eddie's going to fix the car. You want to race it next week?" And Johnny says, "Yeah, sure." So so Johnny ended up in the car, and me and my buddy Steve ended up fixing it. And Johnny was our driver from there on out.
Everybody called him King Cambo, Johnny Cambino. He was one of Harvey Tattersall's stars in that era when United was really happening.
He was kind of a neat old guy. You always talk about West Haven and stuff like that.
As an old timer, seeing someone like that, of that caliber, racing at the Speedbowl and the street stock was fabulous. It was great for the track.
Oh, Johnny Gambino, yes sir. He was a tough one. He didn't give you no slack. He raced you hard. For an old guy, let me tell you, he got the job done.
Kind of like a joke in the pit area. Oh, the old man's coming back, and he's 60-something years old, and then all of a sudden the old man started whooping everybody's ass, and it wasn't so funny no more.
Back then I didn't like it. He was beating us, The old fart was kicking everybody's butt, We all thought he was cheating and this and that, and I didn't like it back then.
He had good stuff too. The Puleo stuff was real good. Right. Puleo's old man, they built some serious equipment.
He was an older guy, and he was fast every week. He was one to watch out for. Dad battled with him.
Did it create situation with competitors? Because
yes, very much so. Very much so. And a lot of times I was stuck playing referee or trying to play peacemaker. And sometimes he would get me fired up.
Who said Johnny tried putting him in the wall? Who was that? 57 saying I took him in the wall. What did I take him in the wall? Who do I care to back him? You don't look him back. I'm watching the guy in front of me. He wants me to look at him in the back. So what do you got a mirror for? I don't use no goddamn mirror. I'm worried about who the hell's in back. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Johnny's a old school Italian, and of course Eddie's father is too. Sometimes it's hard to understand them, especially when they're mad.
I told him the one spun out on the third turn. He said, "No, I can't do nothing, Johnny." Good job.
9 out of 10 of them came around once they got to know Johnny and got to know the way he was and what a great person he was. And that he was just funny, and it was just amazing. So even the guys that hated on him in the beginning, by the end of his racing career, were fans of his as well as competitors.
He was a character, man. He was a lot of fun to hang with. He always had a story. He always made you laugh. He was always goofing around, joking.
There were so many cars there. I got sideways banged. He never went off. Just over.
Yeah, he kept good. He was funny in the pits, but when he got on the racetrack, he was tough. He raced you hard.
We all liked seeing him back. Johnny's a great guy. Johnny was a lot of fun.
Oh boy, he was having a ball.
You would never know, that he was an older guy. I mean, people in the stands that didn't get to actually physically see him would never know because he was that good. And he took chances just like a young guy. I mean, he was the real deal. He drove for us for 4 years. He ran Waterford and Thompson on a weekly basis, and he won at both tracks.
It was neat, though, and I've always been kind of the opinion that if he wants to do it, or, let him do it, as long as the guy's physically capable of doing it.
He was actually the points leader at Thompson, and he had a really bad wreck off of turn 2, where he hit the wall, and then another couple cars hit him, and the car got wrecked real bad, and he actually got injured. And then that was it for him. He was done after that. But he still was around. He was still at the shop. He still came to all my races, and he was a great support for me.
He didn't see it as anything, insulting or whatever to be driving a street stock. He'd been a big modified guy and a jalopy guy. He just wanted to do it to have fun, and I thought it was cool. But like I said, the only thing that bothers you a little bit is, man, don't walk by that guy without realizing who that is. You ought to tip your hat to that guy. That's Johnny Cambino.